Hello dear viewers, welcome to another video tutorial of this YouTube channel. In today's tutorial, we're going to be focusing on question number 6, which is coming from the ECZ examination for school certificate ordinary level additional mathematics paper 1. And this exam was for the internal candidates. So the question that we're going to be interested in today's tutorial, it is falling under the topic which is trig identities. So an individual had requested for a tutorial for this question, and here it is. So now let's try to check where the question is located in this paper. Let's try to check the location. So the question that we're interested in, it is falling under trig identities. So let's try to check where the question is located. Okay, so this is the question that we're going to be interested in today's tutorial. It is question number 6, which is falling under trig identities. So let's try to go through this question. The question states that prove the identity, and we have been given the statement below, which is cos theta over 1 plus sin theta plus tan theta, and that is equivalent to sec theta. So this question, it is carrying 4 marks. This question is carrying 4 marks. So the next step that we're going to take is that we're going to get into the solving. But before we get into the solving, I would like to remind you to subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you're always going to be updated with the latest information and the latest content on this YouTube channel. And also don't forget to share so that others can also enjoy the tutorials of additional mathematics, and don't forget to comment so that we can hear out your views. And then last not the least, you can like this video by giving it a thumbs up. So let's try to get into the solving. Let's now quickly get into the solving. So as you're subscribing, don't forget to turn on the notification button so that you're always going to be notified if there is any latest information on this channel. So now the question states that prove the identity. So if you are proving identities, you have to select a side which is going to be easier for you. So in this case, in our case, we're going to select the left hand side. So we're going to select the left hand side. So we're going to prove that the left hand side is equivalent to sec theta. So we're going to be solving. So we're going to get what is on the left hand side. So we have cos theta, and then we have over 1 plus sin theta. So what are we supposed to do? What is the next thing? So when you try to check, the plus is going to be maintained like that, and then when you try to check tan theta, so tan theta is equal to or is equivalent to sin theta over cos theta. So tan theta is equal to sin theta over cos theta. So what you can simply do is that you can replace where there is tan theta with sin theta over cos theta. That's what you have to do. You have to replace where there is tan theta with sin theta over cos theta. So we're going to do that. We're going to write sin theta over cos theta. And then after this, what is the next thing? So we're going to combine these fractions so that they become 1. So how are we going to do that? We're going to simply add these fractions. We're going to say cos theta over 1 plus sin theta over cos theta. So if you are proving identity, it is advisable for you to convert all the things to sine and cos. That is one thing that I can advise you if you're proving identities. So in such a case, we have converted tan to sine and cos. So sine and cos are going to be easier at the end. That is why it is advisable. So in such a case, we have converted tan to sine and cos. So it is sine theta over cos theta. So in such a case, we're going to add. So we're going to find the common denominator. So the way we find the common denominator is that we have to multiply the denominators. In such a case, we're going to multiply 1 plus sine theta and cos theta. So that is our common denominator. So that is what we have to do. We have to multiply those denominators. So it is going to be like that. And then what is the next thing? So what you have to do is that you have to simply get the common denominator and then divide that by the denominator over each fraction. So in such a case, we are going to start with the first fraction. We're going to say the common denominator divide by 1 plus sine theta. And when you try to divide sine theta, 1 plus sine theta, those are going to cancel out, and what you're simply going to remain with, it is cos theta. So cos theta, after you remain with cos theta, you have to multiply that with the numerator. So when you try to say cos theta, it is going to be cos theta, open brackets, cos theta. And then again, we're going to do the same things again. We're going to divide the common denominator by the denominator that we have on the second, in the second fraction. So when you try to divide, the cos is going to be cancelled, and what you're going to simply remain with, it is 1 plus sine theta. So 1 plus sine theta is going to be multiplied by sine theta, which is the numerator. So it is going to be like that. And then after this, what is the next thing? The next thing that you have to do is that you have to do further evaluation and calculations. So you're going to start with cos theta times cos theta. It will give you cos squared theta. So cos theta times cos theta, it is going to be cos squared theta. And then again, when you consider the second step, we have sine theta, open brackets, 1 plus sine theta, and then close brackets. So what we have to simply do is that we're going to maintain the plus, and we're going to say sine theta times 1, it will give you sine theta. Again and again, sine theta times sine theta, it will give you sine squared theta. So that is what you're going to get. It will be something like that. So you're going to have the numerator as cos squared theta plus sine theta plus sine squared theta. So that is your numerator. Let's now go to the denominator. So we're not going to do further simplification. We're going to let it be like that. We're going to say open brackets 1 plus sine theta, close brackets, cos theta. That is what we're going to simply have. So again, the next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to consider a certain identity, which is cos squared theta plus sine squared theta. So when you say cos squared theta plus sine squared theta, that must be equal to 1. That's one thing that you need to keep in mind. So what we can simply do is that we can replace the combination of cos squared theta and sine squared theta with 1. That is what we're going to simply do, simply because when you say cos squared theta plus sine squared theta, this equals to 1. So that is what we're going to do. So we're going to replace the combination of cos squared theta and positive sine squared theta with 1. So that is what we're going to do. So those are simply going to be cancelled out, and we're simply going to have 1. And then what is going to remain? We're going to have sine theta. So the numerator, we're going to have the numerator as 1 plus sine theta. That is what we're going to have. Again, we have the denominator as open brackets 1 plus sine theta, close brackets, and then open brackets cos theta. That is what we have as the denominator. So that is how it is going to be. So when you try to check, we have the numerator. We have the numerator, which is 1 plus sine theta. So that part is also present in the denominator. So we have in the numerator we have 1 plus sine theta, and then also in the denominator we also have 1 plus sine theta. So those two can simply be cancelled out. So what we're going to simply do is that we're going to have the numerator as 1, simply because when you say 1 plus sine theta divide by 1 plus sine theta, it will give you the value which is 1. So the numerator, we're going to have it as 1. So the stage that we have reached, again, we're going to consider another identity, which is sec theta. So when you say sec theta is equal to or is equivalent to 1 over cos theta. That's one thing that you need to keep in mind. And then when you try to check, we have 1 over cos theta. So 1 over cos theta is equivalent to sec theta. That's one thing that you need to keep in mind. So we're going to simply replace 1 over cos theta with sec theta. So even in the question, we're given that 1 over cos theta is equivalent to sec theta. So what we're going to simply do is that we're going to replace 1 over cos theta with sec theta. So it is going to be like that. It is sec theta is equivalent to sec theta. So on the left hand side we have sec theta, and also on the right hand side we have sec theta. So you can simply say that, hence proven. So this